Arsenal were robbed. Enzo Fernandez was offside and interfered with play, preventing Mosquera challenging for the ball for Chelsea's opening goal. Were Arsenal robbed? Should this goal have been disallowed?
Look, I listened to Dermot Gallagher talk about this. I'm not convinced that they were really interfering with the play to the point where it would disallow the goal. Fernandez didn't engage with Mosquera at all. He was there. I think he had his arm or his hand on the back of Hincapié. But look, I think the reason that this has come up is because a decision was given against Robertson for Liverpool against City earlier in November. I think if that decision hadn't come up, then nothing would have even been said about this. But it's just another example of inconsistency in refereeing. I don't personally think they're robbed. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Spurs fan. I don't think they were robbed. I think it would have been really harsh to disallow it. But at the same time, if you're going to go on what happened in November with Robertson, then it should have been disallowed. So I can understand both sides and the frustrations from both sides. For me, I think it was a goal, but I can see why some Arsenal fans might be upset by it because, like I say, the inconsistencies again.
Well, on Wild Things, he's not engaging. He's only offside because of the corner and the header. This is, I agree with what you said, and this is like food for thought, because what Howard Webb said when defending the Robertson decision is if you don't know what goes through a player's mind, maybe Mosquera, if Enzo's not there, maybe Mosquera moves towards the back post and clears it. I personally think no, but the PG MOL have made this a talking point by saying, well, Donnarumma might have dived earlier if Robinson wasn't there. Therefore, you don't know if it makes him hesitate. So that's where they've made, I said at the time, they were going to make a rod for their own back by defending that decision rather than saying that it was incorrect. What are you saying, David? Obviously, you're a Chelsea fan. Arsenal fans talking about it. Sky did a big piece on it today, to be fair, on their website and did a whole video on it. What do you make of it? Do you think Arsenal have been harshly done by here, or is it a case of it's not offside, move on?
I didn't even think this was a talking point. I was confused when I saw it this morning. No one mentioned it during the game. Like, no one was talking about it. But for some reason now it seems to have popped up. It is just because of, again, Enzo doesn't really do anything. Enzo just kind of stood there. He is in an offside position, but it's not like he's again. It's this whole thing of like, are you interfering with the play? What does that actually mean? Because Enzo's not interfering with the ball. That's Robertson was directly interfering with the
point they're making, just to give full clarity, he does jump like he's trying to head the ball. He jumps up for it, and what some Arsenal fans are claiming is because he's making like an attempt to try and get the ball and jump in, he's occupying Mosquera that goes into him and that goes over both their heads. So if he's not there in an offside position and not challenging for the ball, maybe Mosquera does something different, is what they're arguing.
My argument would be, what is the rule?
There's just so many if, buts, and maybes going on with this. It's what's the word that we use? I can't remember. We always use it's a subjective decision. That's what I'm thinking about.
It is subjective, yes.
It's a subjective decision, and ultimately, it's not like I don't think many people at the time were thinking Enzo's clearly interfered with the play. Hence why, when goals given, you don't overturn it, because if it's not,
it's made an action towards
obvious, but it's not a clear and obvious error, Wolfie. This is the issue here.
No, but when it's offside's binary, or it should be.
But the subjective part of the decision is, Enzo is not touched the ball, and he's.
But has he made an action towards the ball?
Well, that's the subjective part, right? So you're
right. That's not subjective, though, is it?
Well, yeah,
it is though, because I'm watching it back here, and to me, it looks like Hincapié jumps for the ball. Enzo's behind him. Mosquera's got his arms round Enzo anyway. Regardless. So Mosquera's the one who doesn't jump because he's too busy wrestling with Fernandez.
Yes. But listen. So I just want to say very quickly.
Enzo's not there.
I just want to say very quickly. People saying Terry is shameless for saying Arsenal are robbed. I'm not making this claim, and I'm sorry to get really rude. Don't be so fucking stupid. I'm asking a question based on stuff that's being discussed in the media. So Abu, respect your bro, but don't start saying I've said something when I'm asking questions, because that gets right up my fucking nose, son. All right. So calm yourself down, boy. From my point of view, that's what they're saying, Tom. Their argument is Mosquera is occupied because someone's in an offside. He doesn't know if he's offside or not, because you wouldn't want your player to guess, right? Because it's quite close. But they're saying he's been occupied by a man in an offside position. Therefore, he's taken him away from maybe going to the back post, is their argument.
But he gets it. The problem is Hincapié doesn't head it. And because Hincapié misses the ball, the two behind him don't see it till late because they're not expecting it to get there. And Mosquera's drags himself anyway. Like, I got the saying, if Enzo's not offside, yada, yada, yada. But for me, the biggest thing is the fact that neither Hincapié or Mosquera are going, what's he doing? What's going on there?
The pushback on that, I guess, Tom, is that Mosquera doesn't really make an attempt for the ball because he's too busy with Enzo. It's hard to say, well, Mosquera could have made a play at the back post and clear it, because he never attempted it, because he's trying to deal with a player who's offside, and therefore, because he's dealing with a player who's offside, the person who's offside is interfering with player.
But,
I understand.
Mosquera doesn't go for the ball until it's over Hincapié's head, at which point he's not going to win it.
I mean, potentially, but that's because he's concentrating on an offside player. So if Enzo's not there, I assume he's looking at the ball. I mean, for me, when it comes to in relation to the question, I feel like the goal, and I agree with Kate, I feel like if you're going to go by the letter of the law and the precedent that's been set, not only with the Robertson one, but I think Man City or something the week after, Forest's goal against Liverpool, like all of these have set a precedent that if anyone seems to be in the general vicinity of someone who could potentially make a play for the ball, then they're offside, and therefore the goal should be scratched off. But I disagree with the fact the statement that says that Arsenal robbed. I think Arsenal were poor yesterday, and I don't think the reason they drew this game yesterday was because of this one goal that was given that probably technically shouldn't have, and that's probably where my contention with it. So, but I understand the arguments, but for me, I don't think Arsenal were robbed. I think they were just poor.
I thought the rule only applied to the keeper.
We'll get on to Arsenal, the performance in a bit. We won't segue into that just yet.
And genuinely, it's just Hincapié's missed the ball. Like, I'm really confused.
Hincapié's got under it, and the two behind him go, "Oh fuck!"
I want to say this.
I made an action towards heading the ball in.
Yeah, I'm obviously. Yeah, look, I've got to jump in here because the comments are actually starting to trigger me a little bit, and it's annoying. I did say the Liverpool one was a goal and it should stand, and this one is a goal and should stand. I'm being consistent, but me as a host asking questions and giving opposing views from others to create a conversation is not the same as a statement. Please, I do mean this because you don't want to embarrass your parents. Use the brains you were born with. You know what I mean? Don't embarrass your family name by just being so stupid all the time. From my point, we're a better community than that. You fuck off to a shit channel somewhere that do that kind of thing. We don't do it here. It's a goal, and I don't think it should be given as a goal. The Nottingham Forest goal against Liverpool should have stood, and rightfully did. Ahmad versus Forest a few weeks prior, where a player kind of goes across the goalkeeper's eye line for a split second. Those are goals. That there is no issues with them. Donnarumma was not impeded by Robertson where he was standing. He wouldn't have got to the ball anyway. Him ducking out the way doesn't make it offside. This one, for me, also isn't an offside. Where I agree with Kate is they've created a rod for their own back by Howard Webb for the first time in PG MOL history, mic'd up history. Every other time one of these offside goals was given and people said maybe a player got distracted, they said, no, that's not in the law. They only created that narrative to defend their massive mistake that robbed Liverpool of a goal against City. That's why this is a conversation. And the only people I will call out on this are the ones who said that Liverpool's goal should be disallowed. You have to agree that this one is disallowed if you agree that Liverpool should be, because he is a distraction. He's in an offside position and he occupies someone who makes somebody think differently. But my personal feeling is the goal should stand. Just want to say that.
I think it's
an incredibly flawed thing. If the argument there is that Mosquera is grabbed, because what he does is he grabs Fernandez to get a hold of him and try and figure him out. In that case, if I'm a manager, I'm going, right, what we're going to do is we're going to put our line up, and what I want you to do is grab the nearest player there. And if at any point it goes near them, he's interfered with you. Because Mosquera, it's his own fault more than anything. He drags himself behind the line. He He's so obsessed with a guy that he doesn't need to grab in the way that he does that he moves himself away from the line of the ball because Hincapié misses it. If you watch it, if Mosquera doesn't grab him, Mosquera's in the perfect position to head it away. But because he grabs him and starts jostling with him for no reason, he then pushes himself behind the goal line and underneath the ball. If he stays where he is. So what Enzo does, I saw this argument, what Enzo does, he has like a hand on Hincapié's back at some point. If Mosquera does that, he gets the ball away. I might be looking at Mosquera going, why are you doing all this grabbing and whatever to throw yourself off your line? Stand tall and hold your zone, because what he did, he dragged himself out, and because Hincapié misses it, the pair of them go, oh no. So Hincapié misses it, and Mosquera is his own worst enemy on it. I don't see how we're looking at that going. It's Enzo's fault that.
He actually moves towards the player. If he just stays where he is, he actually probably just nods the ball away, and there's no conversation about this.
It is marginal.
That's the argument, though. That's the argument, I suppose, isn't it? Because you remember when Bruno scored the goal against City, when Rashford was running, and there's no law that says running towards the ball is off, like it's not offside. It doesn't matter that Rashford distracts and makes a defender do the wrong thing. Rashford hasn't made an attempt to play the ball. The argument is, well, if Rashford had just stopped running because he was offside, Bruno would never have got to the ball because the City defenders would have made different decisions. That's where I think the argument comes in. If Enzo isn't there, Mosquera isn't attracted to him. Equally the other way, say Mosquera leaves him, and then Enzo taps it in on the line, and it turned out he was onside by like a millimeter. Mosquera would be criticised for not closing him down and getting closer, and that's, I suppose, where I still think it's a goal, but that's where I suppose the subjectivity comes in with the offside rule.
My whole gripe with it is the idea that Enzo's interfering with play because someone else is grabbing onto him. He's interfering with play because someone else has decided that they've got to deal with him when Enzo hasn't. Enzo's not grabbed Mosquera and stopped Mosquera. Mosquera has grabbed Enzo and tried to deal with him. In that case, I just look at it and go, but by the way I see it, Enzo can't really do much of anything there at that point because Mosquera's interfering with Enzo in that basis. But again, for me, it all comes down to the fact that Hincapié misses the header. If Hincapié doesn't miss the header, we're not talking about this.
That's a good pause moment for you there, mate. It's a good pause moment there.
The thing is, I think a lot of people forget that the offside rule back in the good old days was anyone was offside. So that's the only way you fix it is you go back to the old rule. And trust me, you don't want to do that where you've got a left winger who's just randomly offside and the attack's going down the right. So these subjective points will come up. It just tends to usually favor the bigger teams, but in this case, when you got big six on big six, it's quite an interesting argument.